That's right. All right, good evening and welcome to this digitally enabled virtual town hall meeting focusing on COVID-19 for the Municipality of North Perth. I'm Mayor Todd Kasenberg and I'll bring this meeting to order such as it is. This community has routinely done wonderful things under exceptional circumstances, a tribute to our spirit and our ability to think, then act. We've been asked to change a whole lot of behaviors very quickly. That's a challenging thing, but we've seen a lot of that change happen. Sure, there are occasional lapses, and we do seem to be coming into a period after the initial shock, which is characterized by frustration and even doubt. But my message today is as resolute as it was when COVID-19 first forced itself into our consciousness. We must stay the course. The world has changed. We need to be patient with those changes and keep working towards building a great community. Your municipal government works with a lot of data, and we try to project what that means for the road ahead. I've adopted a fairly assertive posture of communicating that the municipality has largely embraced. I have tried to communicate through videos and my blog what I have learned from the various experts that we rely on. I have tried to encourage idea generation and have made a few choices that I believe will help people and organizations through these upset times. Municipalities are the governments that tend to be trusted the most to do the right things, in part because municipal governments are closest to all of us. Many of you have called us when you were uncertain about who to speak with, about needed supports or questions, and we have been here for you. We have heroes right in our organization who answer your calls and emails, delivering reassurance, who get emergency daycare up and running after a delay that we never really bargained for, who are getting supports out to business and agriculture so that our favorite businesses and business people get through this and are standing when the intensive period is over, who are cleaning our facilities to make them safe so that municipal staff can work with confidence, who are rapidly deploying IT innovations so that we can all keep working from home and at a distance. Many heroes work to support your municipal government, and as your mayor, I am grateful for all of their efforts. I'm tempted to suggest, in fact, the creation of a new North Perth business that makes superhero capes, because most heroes need them. We are entering a different phase of this pandemic. Phase one was the scramble to change behavior. Phase two was the frustration phase in which we have been for a few weeks, trying to figure out if we and our neighbors are doing the right things and choosing our thoughts about whether these changes are enduring or just a blip in time. Our current phase has seen a lot of government action, not all of which impresses everyone. And now we hit phase three, wherein we work to recover and reboot and rebuild our lives. We have choices to make. How much of the physical distancing that we've experienced will we keep? Will we be safe going out to public gatherings like weddings and funerals? How do we manage the economic change that a few months has created? How do we pay our debts if we borrowed? How do we restore our work? Should more work be done from home? What do we do about the loss in the value of our pensions? What do we do with social services when in fact we've just taken a broad position that individuals should be paid $2,000 a month for a bit now? What should be done to secure our food chain? Should we be investing more heavily in broadband internet service? Should we open our pools this summer? There are so many interesting questions. I personally think this is a chance to rethink a whole lot of where we've been and begin pruning away things that just weren't working and reorienting to new opportunities and ways. But change is rarely embraced, and we need to support those who are change resistant and need reliability and support. I want to hear from you. This web conferencing tool has a polling function, and we're going to roll out now the first question with support from Jessica Johnson, who's working with me today, about the top of mind thing that concerns you right now the most about the recovery from the pandemic period. So if you'll just jump over to the poll in your interface and choose that number one thing, whatever it is that's top of mind for you, that what you feel is most important in your concerns, we'll give you a few moments to do that. Give you another 10 seconds or so. Okay, so Jessica, why don't you close that poll and we'll see what kind of answers we have, if any. The results come 20 seconds after. Shall I sing? I could sing a little song. The happy birthday song for washing your hands takes about 20 seconds, right? So we'll just wait for these results while we ponder what this could mean. So we have interest certainly in business recovery and adjusting to public behaviors. I believe is what that's about. Yeah. And a few of us who obviously are the staff participating in the conference not responding. So that's fine. Thank you for those who did participate. So I'm announcing this evening our plan to get some key members of our community involved in recovery planning. By next week, I expect to announce the identities of members of our community who will be appointed to our COVID Recovery Action Group and its subcommittees. Expect to see names of councillors, municipal staff, and residents so appointed. Through the work of this group and its subcommittees, we will prioritize recommendations to restore health to our business community. We will work to rationalize and implement relevant social services, and we will act to protect our beating heart, agriculture. There's a lot to not just talk about, but to do. Now for an agenda for this meeting tonight, we're going to hear a few reports from our staff, just an update on what we have done and what we're working on. First, I'm going to invite North Perth CAO Chris Snell to set the stage for these reports. Then we'll call on Clerk Patricia Bearfelds to speak about some key municipal services that she's been involved with. Following that, I'll call on Fire Chief Ed Smith to address us. After the Chief, I'll ask Amy Gangle, our Interim Manager of Recreation, to speak. And she'll be followed by Sherry Bearfelds of the North Perth Public Library. Then I'll call on Manager of Operations Lyndon Couch and Manager of Environmental Services Mark Hackett. Following these gentlemen, I'll ask for a report from the Director of Finance and our Treasurer, Francis Hale. Then I'll turn the stage over to Kim Couch, our Community Development Coordinator. And then when this is finished, we'll call again on Chris, the CAO of North Perth, to summarize and structure some of the things that you've heard. When we've taken all of these reports, we'll open ourselves up to some questions. To submit a question, please use the chat function in the WebEx interface. Type out your question and submit this to us. I'll be receiving them, and in evaluating them, we'll direct who from the organization should address the question. We ask that your questions stay focused on COVID-19 and its response, and encourage polite questioning without extensive preamble. Some questions may not be answered due to time constraints or because the information to answer them either is not easily available or is confidential. But with that said, we'll do our absolute best to answer your questions. So let's proceed. First, I'll call on North Perth CAO Chris Snell for an overview of our presentations tonight. Chris, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Todd. Just briefly going to give a background on how COVID started for the municipality and our responses to date. Beginning on March 4th, the municipality has been participating in a weekly conference call with the Perth Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Clausen. Here in Perth, Public Health has provided both local and global updates, along with providing guidance and recommendations to municipalities on their operations. North Perth has based all their decisions on the advice and guidance of Dr. Clausen. We've encouraged the public and directed them to the Here in Perth website for all COVID health-related information. On March the 16th, North Perth activated for the first time during this emergency our Emergency Operations Center and began our contingency plans for a pandemic according to our community emergency plan to ensure continuity of essential municipal services. On the 17th of March, the province declared a state of emergency. And on March the 26th, Mayor Todd Kasenberg declared a state of emergency for the municipality of North Perth. A state of emergency did allow us to raise the awareness locally of COVID-19 and also allow us to, a little quicker response to emergency situations that may come up. On the 26th, all the other member municipalities of the County of Perth also declared an emergency. So really, all the department heads are going to go through tonight is just from there, give a brief operational update on their departments and how we're responding to the COVID situation. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. So let's proceed in order then. Clerk Pat Bearfelts, you're next.
Okay. So for the most part, it is business as usual in the clerk's department. We now have virtual council meetings being streamlined on YouTube. And our biggest question here right now in the clerk's department is how do you get a marriage license? They're still being issued. So we encourage anyone that wants an application to go to the municipal website and search under applications and licenses, or call the clerk's department and we'll provide you with all the further direction. So no concerns with receiving a marriage license in a timely manner for those that still want them. As far as emergency management role that I play, this is Emergency Preparedness Week, so watch for information in the local newspapers as well on social media. In regards to the building department, we are accepting all building applications electronically or by dropping off the applications in the municipal drop box. We are working on an electronic permitting program at this time. Now that we are in stage 1 of recovery and some construction is ramping up, the building department has sent out a link to our local contractors and those that we work with on a regular basis, indicating what is required to be COVID-19 compliant. The building department is issuing building permits that are compliant through the government orders of today. Otherwise, we have other permits that are ready and will be issued once we are given the green light. In regards to planning, our planner, Sean, continues to communicate with the developers, whether it be by teleconference or virtually. We have actually done finished off and completed some site plans that have been approved by council so that they're also ready to proceed when the building envelope allows. In regards to bylaw compliance, it is ramping up. It's the season, and we continue to investigate using social distancing. If you have a complaint, please complete a complaint form. Again, you can find that on the municipal website, or if that's unable for something you to do, we would be happy to leave one for you by a telephone call, and we can leave that for you at the front door. In regards to childcare, as stated earlier, our emergency childcare did open up last Wednesday. We are able to have 25 children, and we now have 25 children enrolled. Staff follow the health unit approved policies and procedures. They are equipped with all the satisfactory and approved PPE, and screening for staff and children takes place daily. So at this point in time, all staff and children are very comfortable and happy in their new situation. And at this time, that's all I have to report from the clerk's department.
Thanks, Pat. Excellent report, and appreciate all the amazing work that your group has done across the scope of things that the organization does. Special tribute, of course, to your hard work on the child care file, and very much appreciated, as I've indicated many times. Very important part of our recovery process and even getting through this emergency is to make sure that child care is in place for frontline workers. So much appreciated. Let's turn next to, who are we going to next? We're going to Chief Smith. Ed, welcome. Ed, we're not hearing you. Okay, so Ed, we're having a problem with hearing your audio feed. Jessica thinks it might be at your end. So We'll move to Amy and come back to you if we can resolve that with you. And perhaps we can get IT to give him a shout just to see whether we can support him. So Amy, why don't you come in next then and share with us your message?
Thanks, Mayor Todd. The roles and responsibilities for the Recreation Department has evolved in many ways over these past 6 weeks. During this time, we've kept our vision statement close at heart, working together to enrich the quality of life of all residents through vibrant parks, recreation, and culture opportunities. We're working together to keep our facilities safe. At the beginning of the month of March, staff enhanced our already quality cleaning procedures by using disinfectants for use against the COVID-19 virus and increased cleaning frequencies. At that time, facilities were still open to the public, so under the guidelines of our medical officer of health, we actively screened every individual prior to permitting them entry into our buildings. Mid-March, with Ontario's declaration of emergency, we acted on the province of Ontario's orders to close recreation programs, facilities, playgrounds, and outdoor recreation amenities. Our trails and green spaces remain open for walk-through access, so staff are providing trail maintenance so these areas are safe for our community to use. We are working together to provide recreation and culture opportunities. Though in-person recreation programs have been canceled, staff are working diligently to provide virtual programming opportunities for our citizens. Programs that encourage physical activity, promote mental health, as well as sharing games and craft ideas for children and families what they can do when they're at home. We've collaborated with the library to share recreation and culture resources and ideas to best serve our community at this time. On behalf of our mayor's virtual Arts Connection program, we reached out to local artists and the North Perth Arts and Culture Council to support them by promoting their talent. The community has been very appreciative that we're offering this virtual service in North Perth. We're thankful we have a way to stay connected to our community. The Recreation Department oversees the maintenance and repairs of municipal facilities, including recreation and non-recreation infrastructure. This includes shutting down our refrigeration plants in our arenas, making necessary repairs and maintenance, inspections, thorough cleaning of our facilities, ensuring they're ready to be used if necessary by the health unit, hospital, or community. The Municipality of North Perth is working together to serve our community. Matching our skills with community needs, the recreation staff are assisting other departments with their essential levels of service, including public works, landfill, communications and marketing, and economic development. We're also providing additional cleaning and disinfecting services to our local OPP detachment office. We've helped collect information for our COVID-19 website pages, including resources for the business directory, community supports, as well as the Community Connection COVID-19 edition. We're currently working together to assist the Listowel Community Garden in meeting the health unit's guidelines to open for the season. Community gardens play an important role in our food system, providing spaces for residents to grow their own food, increase access to healthy foods, and promote a sense of community belonging. In addition, we're exploring other possible garden ideas for our community. The department is ready to assist this group where needed. We're working together to make our green spaces safe while complying with public health measures. We're emptying garbage cans from our parks and trails regularly. Lawn maintenance and landscape has begun, and we will continue with ongoing trails maintenance. We're working together to prepare for the day when we can reopen our facilities and amenities. Our thoughts shift toward answering the question like, what does the work environment look like for our public facilities? What steps do we need to take to make them safer for our citizens during this time, and how do we make that happen? Things are changing every day. By working together, the Recreation Department has evolved these roles and responsibilities to follow the provincial orders and recommendations made by our Medical Officer of Health. Using our skills, we provide support to other departments, we serve our community, and ensure our facilities are prepared when they're needed. Working together to enrich the quality of life of all residents through vibrant parks, recreation, and culture opportunities in a virtual way now and additional ways in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Wonderful job as well from your department and team. We appreciate all the support you've given directly to your purpose and to the other parts of the organization when needed. It's been very gratifying to see that, and it's much appreciated. Let's turn next to, do we have Ed Smith available now? Can we get audio from Ed? Ed? Sorry? Okay, so Simon is going to go over there and support Ed. That's a good thing. So why don't we bring in Sherry Barefelds next? Sherry?
Hello. Hello. Yeah, you can, good.
Yeah,
So
we can hear you.
Perfect, sorry. With the current pandemic, we're required to close our branches, but we can still serve many of your library needs. The North Perth Public Library is open virtually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, offering a vast range of services and resources for everyone at every age here in our community. You can call the Listowel Branch Library, 519-291-4621, during regular library business hours and talk to a staff member, or after hours and on weekends, you can call and leave a message and we will return your call. Email the library at npl@northperth.ca or send us a message through our social media. The library's online resources are available 24/7. Use your North Perth Public Library card to take advantage of the free access that your library provides. That includes ebooks, audiobooks, kid-friendly educational databases, craft classes, and lots more. If you don't have a library card, don't worry. You can now get one from home. Go to our website, www.northperth.ca/online cards, fill out a form, or call the library during regular business hours, and I can register you. If you need help online, we do offer virtual tech assistance. Once again, reach out at those same, either by phone or email, and I will put you in touch with Megan, our digital services librarian. Please check out our social media sites for librarian-led stories, instructional videos, and links to some interesting information. If you currently have library material out, you don't need to worry about late fees growing at this time, as all due dates have been extended until after we reopen. So in closing, we look forward to remaining an important part of your daily life here at North Perth and welcome you back through our doors in the months ahead.
Thanks, Sherry. I know my wife has been anxious to missing her library fix at this point. She has actually learned how to use one of the digital reader apps. So there you go. We're seeing some progress, and we're certainly very appreciative again of all the services that have been made available in spite of the fact that the branches physically have been closed, and it's been a great experience to have the ideas and the efforts coming from the library. So appreciate that very much. Let's turn to, do we have Ed available now? Ed Smith, are you available? We haven't troubleshot his problem yet with the audio video. Okay. So why don't we bring in Lyndon Couch next, our manager of operations. Lyndon?
Thank you, Todd. Our operations in general have been maintained because the majority of these operations that we do take care of are listed as essential. Much of the work we did, we reviewed in terms of what was a priority at the time of the outbreak of COVID, and then we moved forward from there. Examples of continued services that we're going to be providing and will provide, even winter control looks like it may even continue into this weekend. So we continue patrolling, we continue sanding, and we don't want to do this, but our plows are on and ready to go if they needed to go with record-breaking snow this weekend. Cemetery operations are also under the control of Public Works. Those have been maintained and operate normally, as well as the necessary cleanup and upkeep of the grounds themselves. Road maintenance and road building, including gravel additions to the roads in the spring, are happening as we speak. Started this week and are on schedule with calcium to follow. And as I say that, our emails, our phone numbers, which people do call and have questions about what we're doing and when we're going to do it, are all available. There may be delays in the way we respond and get information to staff in the field, but we will provide information, and indeed we'll answer your questions as we go through, like all the staff that are in front of you tonight. Sweeping operations are going to be completed in the next couple weeks. That's for all of our urban centers and urban towns. So you've seen the sweeper out in most of the towns, and it will be completing Listowel over the next couple weeks as well. We're doing litter collection and responding to anything in terms of regular spring cleanup and general tasks like those. Our capital programs are continuing. You'll see that we have Albert Street started. It starts down at Fern and Victoria, heads all the way up to Binning North. That construction project will continue for the duration of the summer and into the fall, with base asphalt going down and curb work happening later in the summer. So continued road closures and inconveniences for a better road, a better servicing, and better infrastructure for us, and answering some problems we've had with stormwater conveyance and a much larger trunk line heading down towards the river. That's our largest project, Kincaid Signals, and the entrances into the mall and the stores there are being kept open as we rebuild that road, and we're working closely with those stores to make sure that they're serviced and that there's access at all times. Other projects include the tendered out Line 84, which will start, we're anticipating as early as June into the beginning of July. And that'll be a reconstruction of that roadway, including water main servicing heading westbound of Highway 23 to that industrial sector out in that area as well. Subdivision reviews, working with developers and builders in terms of applications and advancements in their subdivisions is something that is ongoing, and we're providing that service and answering questions in that area as well. And that's pretty much a summary of Public Works, the activities that were underway. And as I said, we're open for business in terms of answering calls and questions. I would also add that even weed spraying and weed control measures are in place. Notifications have gone out, and those should be taking place in May and July as normal.
Great, thanks, Lyndon. Very comprehensive. It looks like you're attempting to join the Beard Club for Men. So congratulations on that. Welcome to the club. I'll give you the secret handshake when all of this is over. We're going to bring up a poll at this point. Jessica has another question to put up for us. So if you give consideration to this, this is choose as many of these as are relevant to your beliefs or expectations at this point. So let's take a moment out and complete this poll. We'll give this a minute at this point. You're going to close the poll now, Jessica? Okay. So we'll wait our obligatory time here. But in waiting for that, does it automatically show, Jessica? Okay. So you've closed that poll then. All right. Well, let's move on to, maybe what we'll do is we'll move on to our next presenter, and then we can look at the poll results after that. So next up is Mark Hackett, our Manager of Environmental Services. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Todd. Environmental Services Department consists of the water and wastewater operations and also solid waste operations. Looking at the water operations first, water and wastewater, all operational staff are reporting to work as they're considered essential. Staff are required to self-assess daily relating to potential symptoms. Chief operator is currently working from home. Water and wastewater staff have been separated into either water duties or wastewater duties until further notice. So the designated wastewater staff report to the wastewater treatment plant on a daily basis, while the water staff are reported to a different location. Start times and lunches have been staggered to enable social distancing. Vehicles all have been sanitized and limited to one person per vehicle. All sampling and inspections in the water systems and wastewater systems are taking place as required by various regulations and legislation. After hours, on-call services are being maintained as per normal. Spring flushing in the water system has been postponed for the immediate future. Emergency locates are being performed as needed, and staff are not entering any homes at this point as a precaution, and they're maintaining social distances while working in the public. Looking at the water and wastewater capital projects, the wastewater treatment plant is nearing completion. There is a bit of groundwork to be done, and there's some grading installation that still remains, and we're currently working on the deficiency list right now. The wastewater treatment plant will be proceeding with tree planting around the perimeter of the lagoons. And we've actually received a bit of funding from the 50 million trees program, so that was sort of exciting. The re-rating of the hydraulic capacity of the wastewater treatment plant is scheduled for this year, but it could be delayed as some of the prep work has been slowed up. So we're not sure if that's going to proceed or not. On the water side, the SCADA upgrades and the Listowel Well 5 upgrade should proceed this year as planned. Looking at solid waste operations, that curbside pickup of recycling waste that's provided by Blue Water Association is continuing, and there has been no interruptions, so that's been good. We have been active on social media and on our website, directing our public and our residents to our new operational routines. As follows: the Alma landfill has remained open the entire time for North Perth residents only during our regular landfill hours from Tuesday to Saturday. Cash and debit are not being accepted at this time. Customers must set up an account prior to attending the site, and that's actually assisting us in enforcing the North Perth residents only requirement of our environmental compliance approval. As of this afternoon, we're over 560 new accounts set up for the North Perth residents. We have received a great deal of assistance from Parks and Recreation Department and from Public Works and also the Finance Department due to all the increased volume of visits at the landfill and also with all the accounts being set up. So that's much appreciated, and it's allowed operations to continue while we are short an employee at the landfill. This solid waste capital, there's not a lot going on there. The Listowel landfill agreements, which have been approved by council, have been prepared. They've been delayed with the circumstances getting them out and negotiated. The Alma landfill cell construction is currently taking place right now. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And, I think we made a very good decision early on in the process in keeping the landfill open. I know that many other municipalities made a different choice, but I'm quite pleased that we made a series of smart choices there in order to continue to provide services. So thank you to your team for all that they do to keep us safe through this period. And I know they've experienced a fair amount of shift change and physical environment kind of changes, but we appreciate all of their efforts and hope that they have a chance to see this video and hear for themselves the appreciation of their mayor and the community. All right, I think we've got, let's see the poll results first. That would be exciting. Okay, so it looks like there's a fair amount of support for more careful hand washing and using hand sanitizer moving forward. It would be interesting to explore that behavior. How often and where will that happen? But also good support for maintaining 2-meter distances in public spaces, and this will be quite instructive to us because that's what it says. That would be 14 respondees, so 8 out of 14. That's a reasonably significant group of people who will be thinking about that social distance or physical distance that lies ahead. Okay, why don't we, I think we finally have Chief Smith figured out in terms of his connection. So Ed, if you're with us, we're all waiting for you. We want to hear from you. Let's have it.
Hear me now?
We absolutely can. We absolutely can, Ed. Welcome,
Okay.
welcome.
Anyways, thanks to Simon from the IT department. Appreciate his efforts. As far as the public's concerned for the North Perth Fire Department, when they put the call in for help, we are still responding as we always did. The only changes they will see is when our personnel arrives on the scene, they'll notice that they're wearing personal protective equipment, as we refer to PPE, such as N95 face masks, possibly goggles to protect ourselves and the citizens when we respond. In our operations, the biggest changes we've had is since this COVID-19 outbreak has occurred, we've stopped all weekly training meetings and any outside training that was to occur with the department has all ceased, just to protect our personnel and, of course, some of the trainers and additional people we have to bring in for training. Our staff capabilities are well. We are not experiencing any issues with staffing other than the two individuals who, because of their personal jobs, and the public needs to understand that they still have personal jobs, they're unable to attend, but the rest of our personnel is able to respond to calls as usual. The other thing in our department, we aren't doing any out of the ordinary inspections. We're doing inspections only as required under the Fire Protection Prevention Act, such as request and complaint. And our public education programs have ceased to the point of course, there is no schools active at this time. So we're not in the schools. We're not having open houses in the fire stations. And we're trying to educate the public, and please public, go ahead and look at our Twitter site, because that's where we're doing our education at this time. We're reaching out to you folks and to your children through our Twitter site and trying to supply public education that way. But as far as our operations, when the call comes in, we're still responding as we always did, other than we're taking certain precautions. And as most of the public is aware, we do first response, which is a modified response. And when we do, our personnel are required to ask certain questions of you when they arrive at your home or business. And please take adherence to what we're asking you and supply us with the proper answers. Other than that, there's not a whole lot more for the fire department, other than we'll continue to serve our public as we need to.
Thanks, Chief. Good work from the team. We appreciate all that you're doing for us at this time. We know it's been a little busier around burn permits. Did you want to comment on that at this time?
Yes, I can. I guess basically the reason for the increase in burn permits, and people need to know this, that we have seen over double the amount of permits for this time of year. And a lot of it relates to the farming communities, because they're getting ready for planting. Secondly, people aren't able to get out and do the normal things they're doing, so they're taking advantage of being able to clean up at home. Now, the big thing about that is please phone in. We will issue you a permit as long as you meet the proper requirements under our legislation and our bylaws to issue you a permit.
Perfect. Good message. The chief has spelled it out for us with regards to burn permits, so let's just all be supportive and do our part in that. And as the chief said as well, you know, we certainly have a fire department responding in some circumstances, and their questionnaire to make sure that their personnel are also kept safe to the extent possible is important for us as residents and ratepayers to respect. And so thank you again, Chief, for all the work that the guys are doing and the ladies are doing. Much appreciated. Let's turn next to our treasurer, Frances Hale. Fran.
Mayor Todd. Since the closure of the municipal offices and other municipal facilities, the finance department has provided support to residents through phone calls, emails, and regular mail. And I just wanted to note our number for those that don't have access to the internet, to our main number being 519-291-2950. To reduce staff numbers, many finance staff are working from home on a rotation and flex time to complete the work required and to keep office occupancy low. At this time, provincial and federal levels of government have been making considerable effort to ensure that those that have been negatively affected financially by pandemic have been provided some assistance. While this has been unfolded from top down, Council has provided some financial relief by waiving penalty and interest from March the 24th to July 31st. Council will be revisiting this time frame at the end of June to determine if this relief needs to be extended. As well, NSF charges have been canceled during this time frame. Municipal billings for taxes, water, wastewater, landfill, etc. will continue based on current fees and usage. Non-payment, of course, will not be charged penalty or interest until August 1st. Pre-authorized payments will continue unless the Finance Department is advised by the customer to stop this method of collection. Remember, invoices and payments continue to be received via the drop box at the front entrance. It is also needed to be noted that our IT staff have been working very hard to enable council and staff to communicate efficiently and effectively with the public, other agencies, and internally. Some of the new applications will be of benefit even after the pandemic has subsided. Staff are currently looking to the future and planning on how finance and IT might move forward as the restrictions are lifted over the next coming weeks. Thank you.
Thanks, Fran. Your team has been rock solid in terms of providing the backbone for a lot of our continuing efforts, and we sure appreciate all of their support in this as well. So please make sure they know that their mayor and their community appreciate them very much. Next up is one of my key advisors and supporters through this period, our key link to the business and agricultural communities during the pandemic period. So I'll call on Kim Couch to give us an update and a few words about what she's been doing and how our response is being supportive. Kim.
Thanks, Mayor Todd. So we've been very busy in community economic development to help support our businesses, understand their needs, and then also look towards the future to how we can respond and help support as we move out of the current situation. So we've really focused on a few areas. The first thing that we did was to create a very detailed questionnaire for businesses so that they could supply their current status, any changes or adjustments they may have made that we could help promote across the community and all of North Perth, as well as to better understand their needs and concerns and ideas that they may have. So the public is welcome, and we encourage you to continue to check out that business directory. We a large number of our businesses in North Perth have active and currently changing information on there, so definitely look to that. Our second area that I'd like to promote that we've been doing are the regular, both weekly and bi-weekly teleconferences with our business community, as well as with the agricultural community. So great attendance and conversation about updating on different activities, funding, initiatives for business, and again, idea generation, as well as often having our provincial and federal officials attend those teleconferences. So it's been very informative for our local businesses and agriculture members, as well, I think, for the our other elected official levels as well. And just to point out, our next teleconference is this coming Wednesday for businesses at 8:45 and at 10 a.m. The final thing that there are a number of items that we're working on, but this is kind of the last one I really want to talk about is our e-commerce marketplace. Shop Local North Perth is a new e-commerce platform, very similar to Etsy or Amazon, that's going to be open for North Perth business to be able to offer their products and services together. We will promote them as together, And we have many of our businesses have come forward, are quite excited about the opportunity. For those who have not had the ability to start their own e-commerce platform, and for some that do but want to continue that as an alternate option for them, the sectors that will be represented are restaurants and food, shopping, agriculture, personal services, leisure and recreation, as well as trades and contractors. So a really broad representation of our businesses, and we're continuing to provide that to give them an opportunity for people to order as well as to pay, to make payments in a physically distant way. And that's a great opportunity going forward in an innovative way as we move out of the current situation. So those are the areas I just want to emphasize right now.
We're going to bring up a polling question, and while Jessica pulls that up for us, I want to be very explicit in expressing thanks to Kim. There are times when I've considered Kim and Chris and myself three musketeers. So when we buy those capes, Kim, you and I and Chris are all going to have three musketeer capes in moving forward. Kim has been an indispensable help to our community, and her report is actually quite shy of the many things that she's done to support the municipal response. So a big hat tip to Kim for all she's done. Getting an e-marketplace up as quickly as we appear to be doing this, and we're expecting it any day now, is actually quite a miracle in the context of web platform production. So we're very impressed with all the work that's happened. Have a look at this poll if you haven't already. We're asking you how you will continue to support local business through all of this and moving forward. Okay, so Jessica's going to process the big reveal here, and while she's doing that, we'll have CAO Chris Snell come back in and give us sort of a wrapper of what you've heard, and then we'll look for some questions. Chris.
Thank you, Mayor. As demonstrated by all the departments and staff tonight, the municipality has continued to provide services to the community throughout this pandemic situation in a safe manner, using guidance from both the local public health and the province. We've continued to answer calls, respond to emails, and check our drop-off box. We've continued to update our virtual and online services on our website and look for other opportunities to enhance the services as this continues. I encourage everyone to continue to use our website, www.northperth.ca, or as mentioned by Fran, call our number 519-291-2950 to speak to staff. Please also check our social media outlets. We're active on both Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the community. They've been very cooperative in using our municipal services as we've tried to mold them and make them as pliable as possible, because this situation has been changing daily. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all the municipal staff for their continued support in serving their community. It's been much appreciated. Thank you. That's everything I have, Mayor.
Thanks, Chris. You've been a rock in all of this, and the community owes you a great debt of appreciation. I tried to express that on our behalf, but thank you for all that you've done and for the leadership that you've shown through this, and even for all the coaching that you've done of an occasionally tired, occasionally cantankerous mayor. So much appreciated. Jessica, why don't we see those poll results about business just to see where we're at? Okay, so we're going to see, it looks like we're going to see some more shopping opportunities here in local stores, that's great. There's some intent to use our Shop Local North Perth Marketplace, which is wonderful to hear. And so there's some good answers here. Shop local dollars, good opportunity, supported by the Chamber of Commerce. Commend that to you. Eating out, I think we're all desperate to eat out, so we just need to see the restaurants get through this, and hopefully you'll take those actions that have been suggested, buying gift certificates and so forth during this period until they can reopen, to keep them appropriately alive. All right. It's time for any questions from the community at this point. So if you have a question, there's a chat box on your screen. I believe that you can open and type in a brief question, and we'll look through these questions and bring up some of the questions to the appropriate people. So anyone have any questions out there? What shall I sing while we await the introduction of some questions here? So I have a curious question for Clerk Bearfeltz. Pat, can you imagine a scenario where we have virtual weddings?
Yes, there's actually an advertisement on the local TV station right now for anyone that wants to join in. I'm not sure what it's called, but virtual weddings are becoming available.
Okay, so there is a possibility for those who are interested. It seems like a rather dry way of doing it, perhaps. I think there's someone in my room here with me who's snickering in the background because she may have a wedding at some point this year, and I don't think she's that excited about using WebEx for it. She's shaking her head no. So indeed. Well, there was my question. Anyone else have a question? Sorry. Okay. So Pat, another question for you. We are at capacity for the daycare, right? We at this point don't have further capacity?
Just today, I've received an update from the city of Stratford. We have 25 spaces and we now have 25 children.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Just want to make that clear. Anyone with questions in our viewing audience? I'll start on a rousing, no, she's looking, Jessica's looking at me like I am about to sing. No, that's not where I'm going. A rousing speech. They say you should use Churchill when you're going to give a rousing speech. I don't know any great Churchill quotes right now beyond the obvious, we shall never surrender. But I think it's important, again, to express my personal appreciation to the community for getting so much of it. As I said earlier, the behavioral changes that have been called for have been really phenomenal, and in many cases, most who work in learning and behavioral planning would say too many things were asked of us all at once, and yet we did a lot and we got a lot of it done. And so again, great appreciation to our community for engaging with the changes that need to happen. Very much appreciated. Your government in North Perth is trying to be very attentive to the needs and trying to anticipate what lies ahead. And so we continue to do our work, but also generate ideas for recovery now. And that's squarely, as I said earlier, where we're turning our attention to. Chris and I have been working on recovery off and on since the beginning, actually, of the emergency period, because that's kind of our roles. But now we're going to turn some of that into the community and leverage work of volunteers and staff and counselors to continue to build a great place to be. We're into a lovely season. We've seen some lovely work from our operations department and sweeping the streets and getting things ready for us. The trails are being taken care of, and we're gearing up for what we can of this spring and summer season. Unfortunately, Lyndon had to be the bearer of the bad weather forecast. Thanks so much. And tell us that we might actually see snow this week, which is not a word we wanted to hear at this point in time. But certainly, things are ready for a nice spring and a nice summer to the extent that we can have in this sort of changed circumstances and environment. We are seeing indications that that things have gone pretty well with our physical distancing practices. And now the sort of final frontier that we're hearing about the most is the long-term care homes and seniors residences. That's where the COVID battle is being fought at this point, largely because community transmission has dropped substantially. So that's really good news, and the kind of news that I think we all needed to hear, given how much we've sacrificed and how many changes we've had to make. With that, again, your team has been outstanding. It makes my job as mayor easy, and that's quite a thing, actually. And so I appreciate everyone who's joined the conference today. From the staff, again, thanks for all of your hard work, much appreciated. For Jessica helping me work through the logistics of this conferencing technology so that we could pull this off today. Appreciation, and I'm not trying to force a virtual wedding on you, trust me, that's not my intent. And to everyone in the community, the message continues to be keep strong. This is a time of caution and compassion. Be kind as we move into this next phase where things again become somewhat uncertain as governments make changes and release certain restrictions. Be kind to each other. Be good to each other. And we look forward to your calls and your emails as you need service. We're here to help you. With that, I think I'll bring this virtual town hall to a close, and please stay in touch as you can. Thank you.